Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. It's Allan Labucan here from the Allan Reports. I have a special guest today in Kelly Malcolm from Amex Exploration. Amex has one of Canada's premier gold exploration discoveries over the last year and a half or so. It's high grade, it's in Quebec, it's close to infrastructure, it's a cell phone access project, and Kelly is VP Exploration, so we can have a good chat about the whole company. So how are you doing today, Kelly?
Doing very well, thanks, Alan. I'm finally come back to the office for the afternoon, so very happy to be out of my condo and back in action a little bit.
Yeah, I guess people are in between being at home for the COVID and getting back to the office. I'm hearing people are starting to get back to the office, including yourself.
Yeah, I've been coming in a little bit, but it's nice to see things coming back to a little bit of semblance of normalcy, because it's been a while with it's been happening for quite some time now. So it's nice to see life becoming a little bit more normal.
And on the ground, you guys kind of got back to work how long ago on the ground?
I think it was about 6 weeks ago now, Alan. We were mandated by the Quebec government to shut down completely. So we spent about a month with no one on site. And then we gradually started trickling back. So we brought 2 drills in to start at first, to test out sort of our social distancing measures. We're up at 4 right now, and we'll be up at 6 by about July 15th. So we announced that a few days ago. We've got a humongous core shack. It was actually the old curling facility.
Actually, I was looking at your corporate presentation before we got on the call, and I saw it. It's quite big, actually. Oh, it might have. We might have froze Kelly. Kelly, are you there? We got.
It's huge. So we can. I think it's 7,000.
Oh, there you are, Kelly.
We're good.
Sorry about that. We got a little internet gremlins, I guess, bothering us for a second there when you were starting to talk about the curling rink as your core shack.
Oh, sorry about that. So I was essentially saying that we've got such a big core facility that social distancing is not an issue for us. We have tons of room for all the geologists and technicians to work in sort of isolation. So we'll have 6 drills running on site on July 15th. We've got a ton of money in the bank, around $25 million. And we're really ramping things up. So we announced—
Is that including the other news release you had last week, which was the closing of a bought deal financing?
Yeah, so after that financing closed, which was 15.75, we now have $25 million of cash.
And some of the luminaries that were involved in that financing, I think Eric Sprott?
Eric Sprott was the lead on it. So he did another, I think it worked out to $3.8 million that he put in for his 3rd financing in the company. Commodity Capital was a big supporter as well. They've played in most of our deals in the past. Actually, one of our insiders even participated. He put in, I believe, $150,000 at $2.52. So then we had a number of different institutions that played as well. So it was a really great financing, and for us, it sort of, I think it changes our focus a little bit, or sort of changes our perception in the market, because now we have a lot of money in the bank. We have the ability now to test out some of our new hypotheses, try to link these different deposits together. We can do some infill drilling. We can do a lot of regional exploration work, as well as continuing to define those beautiful zones that we found in the past. So I think it's going to be transformational.
That reminds me of the conversation we had the first time we talked on an interview back at PDAC, I think about not
2019,
the one before. And I had said that it looks like the zones connect at depth, and it's starting to, as you drill deeper and connect the dots, it's starting to look like that's the case.
Yeah, it's looking like so we've got a really big corridor. We're basically calling it the Perron Gold Corridor now. So that's the Gratienne zone on the west, all the way to the Eastern Gold Zone on the east. And that is about a 2.7 to 3 kilometer long corridor of of a string of gold deposits with anomalous gold basically scattered throughout. So it's looking like we're onto something sizable. And what our plan is to test in between those different zones that we've identified and see if we can provide the optionality of a big low grade or medium grade type system with the optionality of these high grade underground type mine systems as well. So
Well,
it's been a really great project for us.
you're not, you're not talking about small there either. I was looking at the maps and on your presentation, so I just reflect here. And what are, like, for example, on the, I'm looking right now at the cross section of the Eastern Gold Zone, for example. And if you look at that envelope of the material that's, let's say, over 10 grams, 10 to 50, 50 to 150, and over 150, there's a pretty good zone there developing in the cross section. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's shaping up very nicely, especially the high grade zone of the Eastern Gold Zone. We defined the upper sort of 450 meters for most of 2019. And 2020, what our focus has been is largely on defining the system down to depth. So our plan is to drill it down to around 1 kilometer and then define a resource on that overall kilometer long or kilometer deep window, and then infill drill everything and put a resource out at some point later on next year. And that's the plan on that one. And
That's
it's
that
very
could
great.
get pretty exciting because the depth, the grade can have zonation from along the depth dimension, right?
Yeah, and we're also seeing a change in widths as we drill down deeper. It's early stage, but we're very, very enthused with what we've seen, Alan. It's been a really great project to be involved with. I'm so happy to be part of the company. I think we've done very well, and I think there's lots of room to grow going forward.
In that increase in width, is that what gives you more confidence that these things connect at depth? These various different shoots?
The thing that's been, in terms of confidence, the most exciting thing and interesting thing for me is the ability that we have to target and hit basically within a meter or two of our projection of the plane of mineralization going down. So when you're looking at potentially underground mining something, the best scenario you could have is a sheet of mineralization, because you can mine under that so easily. When you have a lot of folding, you have a lot of faulting, it becomes very difficult to actually follow and extract. And the fact that we're able to pin within a meter or two of where we're expecting to hit is really, really encouraging for us for potential mineability of this system.
Now, those zones, I was also, another interesting part was that in your corporate presentation, and by the way, I invite all of our viewers to check out the corporate presentation on the website at amexexploration.com, I think it is.
That's it, yeah.
I've got it on my Google, it comes up right away. The zones seem to be all in that brecciated the contact between that one big structure and then the other structure on the other side of it. Is that what you think is controlling the mineralization of the high grade gold?
So I think there's definitely a lithological control there. It's a structurally controlled gold system, definitely, but that brecciated portion that you're talking about, I believe it's on slide 9 or something. It's our geological map. So like gold is a funny beast. So these hydrothermal systems, you need so many different ingredients in order to make a gold deposit. So that brecciated material, which for anyone listening, basically means that it's broken up rock, or it's placed in sort of chunks and pieces and ash. But what's great about that is it allows for a lot of fluid to run through it, because there's a lot more porosity, permeability, and the possibility of sort of a channel way for gold. And if you couple that with a nice regional deep-seated structure, which we have definitely on the property, those are key criteria. So you need a rock that is able to receive that fluid, you need a structure with which to bring the fluid into the system, and you need a receptive rock that's going to actually soak up that gold and be receptive to cracking and making space where you can have veins and you can have gold being entrapped. So we have all of those key criteria. And like you mentioned, that brecciated material, I think, is a major lithological or rock control on the gold mineralization.
I try to explain it a little simpler than that, but you did a good job, Kelly. I always like to, help people to understand how the gold gets from deep up, and then once it gets closer to surface, how it reacts to the path of least resistance, if you will,
Absolutely, yeah.
and you get the fluids up, the gold-bearing fluids up there, and you got a perfect storm for making a big gold discovery
I think so.
of high grade, which is, that's getting harder and harder to find these days. Most of the discoveries these days I'm looking at are, under a gram kind of stuff, and that's fine if you've got a perfect storm there as well, with infrastructure, being able to get at it easily, low cost, that sort of stuff. But you definitely got a pretty great gold discovery, high grade gold discovery so far.
I think it's shaping up to be a really great project. We're really happy with how it's been developing, and I think that now that we've got this $25 million in the bank, 200,000 meter program, I think you're going to see some really nice surprises as we push forward even further.
Well, I like the sounds of those surprises, Kelly. What is that, 200,000 additional, or is that?
So it's cumulative. So for the remainder of this year, we'll do around 50,000 meters, and that 200,000 is through into 2021. So
Okay,
it's a program that started basically at the beginning of middle of 2019, and is being carried forward.
and you guys have had a pretty good flow of news with, getting drilling done, then assays on a pretty regular basis prior to the COVID situation. Are you expecting that kind of thing to resume in the?
Oh, absolutely. And especially with 6 drills operating, it's going to be very steady. We're 3 to 4 weeks usually between news releases. And we've also initiated some metallurgical work. So we'll have some metallurgy coming out hopefully by mid-July, maybe through to mid-August, depending on how long the process takes. But I think we're in for some consistent news flow. And if you look back at our news over the past 18 or so months, this project has some really spectacular grades, like you've mentioned. So there's a few holes that are stellar within each of those releases.
On a regular basis, you're coming out with making me look pretty good, Kelly. I picked this at about 50 cents, and I think before I turned on the thing, it was trading at about $1.72 today.
Yeah, you've been a supporter for a long time, Allan. So we really appreciate that, and it has definitely it's been moving in the right direction with some hiccups like the COVID sort of blip in the stock price, but it looks encouraging.
Very much so. And before I let you off the call here, Kelly, I was going to ask you, part of my thesis on why I think, even at these valuations, Amex is very exciting, is that I can see a stronger price for gold coming. There was a sideways action for about the last 2 months. I was looking for a breakout, and we're actually getting that breakout just in today. And from a technical perspective, and along with the fundamentals of how badly needed new discoveries are, and how few good exploration projects there are, that a company like Amex can definitely have can potentially see a much higher valuation. Do you watch the gold price a lot, Kelly?
Every morning, every night, basically all day long. I'm also I'm a gold investor as well, so I look at a lot of different exploration stories.
Yep.
And my whole portfolio, much to my financial advisor's disappointment, is all focused on mostly gold stories. I love it. It's what I do for a living. I think it's a great place to be looking. It's a great place to be involved, and it's a wonderful sector. and my life is really tied to that gold price. So I definitely actively watch it. I think we're in for a nice re-rate in the gold price. All these different factors are coming together, and it's time for it to really pop.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, I was talking to Steve Todorak just recently on an interview. He's with Sprott Global down in California, and talking about it being somewhat of a perfect storm, with all the money printing and the debt and all the stimulus that's going on out there. I really
And all
don't.
the political issues that we have too around the world. It's all prime for. You can't print money forever and expect that nothing will happen to the gold price.
I like the sounds of that, Kelly. And so keep that good news flow going, and let's look for a re-rating of everything here in the not too distant future.
Thanks, Alan. Let's talk again soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kelly, and we'll talk soon. Have a great day. I'm just going to close things off. You can, I'll
Yep.
end it here in a minute. As I always close the show, folks, remember this show is for information purposes only. It's important for you to do your homework, speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions, and a good place to start your homework on Amex is to go to their website and check out that corporate presentation. They do a really good job of explaining and showing in images what's going on with the drilling and where all this high grade gold is being found. On that note, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.